Roma fans are beginning to believe in something that hasn't been done since 2001. Yes, since the Francesco Totti days. Escudetto. Roma sit top of the Serie A. When you watch Roma, you watch the way they play and the way they win. The impossible becomes possible. And Gasperini has brought a level of swagger to the city of Rome that they haven't seen in a very long time. To tactical dominance, Mancini, a centre-back, stepping into midfield to create that numerical advantage. To geometry all over the field, triangles left and right to move the ball quicker. And goals. Goals that we haven't seen in a very long time. Goals which exploit the opposition. Goals which every football purist will be proud to watch. The city of Rome has been shocked, and Gasperini is leading a title charge. Now, one of the truths of football is you will never sit top of the league by luck. No team sits top of the Serie A by luck. Roma at the start of the season, they were winning, but they weren't looking the most convincing. They were capitalizing on moments, but they were winning. And as I always said, the sign of a good team is when they can win, grind out a result, but not playing the best. But why Roma fans are beginning to believe now, and now you can see that confidence, that swagger in the players, in Gasperini on the sidelines, the fans. It's because now they're beginning to win, but they look convincing, they look dominant, they look penetrative, and they look like a team that's capable of scoring 2, 3, 4 goals. And I'm talking goals of the highest level. So many of these new recruits are now beginning to find their feet. They understand the Serie A, they understand Gasperini, and most importantly, Gasperini understands them. To like, make sure to subscribe. I really need to add some more Roma content to this channel. Let's start with today. Roma have just beaten Cremonese 3-1. And yes, before anybody turns around and says, Haj, it's Cremonese. Yes, the same Cremonese that went to the San Siro and beat Milan. The same Cremonese that have practically surprised a lot of people in their performances this season. Bearing in mind, they've just come up from Serie B. It's a very physical team and it's a tough ground to go to. But Roma made it look easy. And I'll be honest, guys, I was so impressed. Like, whenever I've watched Roma this season, I've said they're winning, but there's question marks. There's things that need addressing. There's areas that need tweaking. And I always say they're winning without a striker. Like, do you know how impressive that is? You're winning without a striker? But let's straight get into the goals. Now, the first thing that I really wanted to highlight is the fact that of this geometry all over the field. And that's geometry is a word that's always connected to Gasperini because of the way that he wants to play the game, especially during his time at Atalanta, where players have got freedom to play all over the park. They can drop deep, they can run in behind, they can drift out wide to help the wing backs. Geometry. But then when you look at like some of these moments, like this was an opportunity before the first goal. Look at how every single one of these players is close to one another. But not too close, but not too far. It's to make sure every player on the ball always has a 5-10 yard available to him, to his left, to his right, forwards and behind. The beauty in geometry on the field when players position themselves like this is the ball moves quicker. And I promise you, the ball will always move quicker than any man, on any human, any footballer on the field. The quicker you move the ball, the more you move the opposition. And the more you move the opposition, the more you have space to exploit. Remember that when we discuss the third goal. Because I feel like that third goal is probably one of the best goals that I've seen this season in the Serie A. When you look at the first goal, Matías Soulé, I've highlighted him so many times. And I even said at the start of the season, this is the season where Soulé proves to every Juve fan, you thought Dean Huijsen was a mistake going for peanuts to Bournemouth and now I'm at Real Madrid. Soulé is a far bigger mistake. I feel like this kid has put the city on his back this year. He stepped up in the big moments. He stepped in, week out. And I've always said, the fact that Gasperini plays him week in, week out in comparison to all of the other Roma attackers, it indicates how important he is. One, to the system, but two, to Roma as a whole. Like, you know what I mean? The system, the attacking prowess, tactically, it's an amazing goal. But let's just rewind 10-15 seconds. Manu Kone, I think he's amazing. I truly think he's amazing. I said he's amazing last season, but this season, I'm trying to think for a word that's far better than amazing. World class? He receives the ball. Now, do you know what I loved about this goal? Is the fact that so many times I see players in this area. You can see Pellegrini makes the run. He makes the dart and run forwards. So many players, they go for the safe option. They just pass it out wide to the left-hand side to Wesley. It's not really the most progressive of passes. And it doesn't really get you anywhere. It doesn't get you closer to goal. Kone is like, nah, Wesley, you just stand there, occupy space, occupy the fullback. I'm going to go forwards, 5-10 yards into Pellegrini. Pellegrini receives it, and he knows I need to lay it back into Kone's path, but where the space is. Exploit the space. That's how you win a game of football. Exploit the space that the opposition leave in behind. Kone goes in. Now he looks inwards. Soulé. Like, I feel like in this 3-4-3, Soulé playing in and around the striker, in that, like, half space between the wing back and the striker, he's got all the freedom to do as he wants. Drift inside, drifts outside, drop a little bit inwards, go backwards, go forwards. He can literally roam all over the field. And this goal is identical to the goal that he scored in Florence against Fiorentina. Receives it just outside the box, 18 yards, wraps his foot around it, 1-0 Roma. He is a game changer in every single thing that he does. But this all comes from moving the opposition. To Pellegrini, running in behind, dragging a player with him. Kone making the progressive pass. But rather than making the progressive pass and just standing still and saying, hey, my job here is done. No, I'm going to follow that pass. Follows that pass. Goes into the space. Soulé runs inwards, and then Soulé just shows you a moment of magic. Now, the second goal is one that I really liked, but I liked it for two different reasons. Wesley puts a cross into the box. Now you can see they've overloaded the box. A cross is coming into the box. It's always good to have more than 1, 2, 3 attackers in the box. Maybe a rebound, maybe a ricochet. And that's exactly what happened. The goalkeeper fumbles it. It drops. They try to get one shot. A player slips. You see, when this ball comes to Ainu, I am, like, from watching football for over 25 years, 99.9% of players, if they get laid off 18 yards from goal and they could see the goalkeeper is like off his line, they shoot. Like, even when the ball got laid off to Ainu, I was like, shoot. Like, put your foot through the ball and shoot. The goalkeeper is off his line. Get it into the top corner. And, like, he's got space to shoot. You know, when I saw Ainu pretend to shoot and then pass it into Ferguson, one, it surprised me, sat at home watching the game. But I think two, it surprised every single Cremonese player. Because when it came to Ferguson, all Ferguson had to do is, now he's closer to goal. Two, he's in a better position to get a strike on goal. All he had to do is two things: control and shoot. And I actually loved it. Like, Evan Ferguson is a player that I really like. I watched him during his time at Brighton, and I genuinely felt like he had such a promising future ahead of him. In and out of the team, injuries. It set him back. But he's still a very young player. And he is a player that had a £100 million price tag. You don't get that by luck. You get that by showcasing some quality on a consistent basis. And that's exactly what he done at Brighton. And that's exactly what he done tonight in a Roma shirt. One control on his right foot, curl it around the keeper and the player on the ball. 2-0 Roma. But I knew. I'll be real. 99.9% of players shoot in that area. The fact that he went for the pass and then Evan Ferguson controlled and put it into the back of the net, it shows they're playing for one another. They're not playing for glory. And I promise you guys, every team that goes on to win a Serie A, that goes on to win the Premier League, that goes on to win the Bundesliga, Liga 1, Turkish Super League, La Liga, you play for one another. You play for the badge. You don't play for your own personal glory. He was like, I can shoot and be the hero. But let me set up Evan Ferguson in a far better position. And you know what it is? What breeds a striker's confidence? Goals. His first goal in a Roma shirt this season in the Serie A. He needed that more than anything. The third goal, it's a shame that it's the third goal and I've left it towards the end of the video. This for me is a world-class goal. This for me is what you call prime time football. A football purist across the world will love. I loved it because I've always been a fan of Gasperini, like from his time at Atalanta. The brand of football, it's so refreshing, especially when you bear in mind, a lot of teams in the Serie A do not play the Gasperini way, where they want to move the ball, they want to drag players all over the field, they want to exploit space. They move the ball via one touch. None of this one touch to control, 3-4 touches to scan the field. No, ball gets fed into Al-Shaarawy. I think when he came off the bench, he genuinely was great. Ball gets fed into Al-Shaarawy. First time. No, I told you guys, no first touch. When you have players playing close to one another, it makes moving the ball far quicker. Who remembers? I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. When the players play close to one another, you don't need to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. No, you know he's there. So fizz it into him first time. Al-Shaarawy, first time. Around the corner, into Evan Ferguson. Once again, he didn't even control the ball. First time, laid it back into Al-Shaarawy. But Wesley, you could see, the minute the ball was fizzed into Al-Shaarawy, before it was even fizzed into Evan Ferguson, Wesley is gone. Because Al-Shaarawy, who is playing on this like left-hand side, that is Roman number 10 on the left-hand side, when he drops deep, he drags the Cremonese player with him, which means the space in behind is now open to be exploited. And that's exactly what a wing-back is supposed to do. Kudos to Wesley for doing it, but this is how a wing-back is supposed to play. He drops in. Wesley makes the run. And Wesley, like, he was running like he knew I was going to get the ball. I think Evan Ferguson's first touch was genuinely amazing. Lays it into Al-Shaarawy. And Al-Shaarawy, None of this dilly-dallying, taking 4 or 5 touches, trying to take on an extra player. No, let me control the ball. Wesley's running in behind. First time pass inwards. Now, do you have the composure and do you have the finish? He thinks the keeper. He thinks the keeper. That's an amazing goal. I'll be honest with you guys. That is an amazing goal. I think when you look at all 3 of their goals, they're all amazing in their own unique and different ways. Soulé, world-class ability. The ability to wrap your foot around the ball from outside the box. It's amazing. It's X factor. It's individual brilliance. The second goal for me, I would label it more down to composure. Al-Ainu's composure, Evan Ferguson's composure. With the keeper of his line, 2 players on the line. And then the third goal, it's just a team goal. It's a team goal. It's swagger. It's confidence. It's Gasperini football. And I'll be honest with you guys, they're winning. They're looking convincing. They don't really concede many opportunities. And I've said this many times before. If I'm Gasperini, I'm knocking on that Roma board and I'm telling them, look at what I'm doing. Get me 1 or 2 new more faces in January. And we could seriously do something that hasn't been done in over 2 decades. Let's see what the future holds. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.